In November of 2010, they told me at the hospital I was in congestive heart failure. I was also diagnosed with AFib. My daughter has been instrumental in taking care of me, and she really noticed. She noticed when I couldn't walk fast as she did, and she noticed that there were times when I needed a wheelchair and different things like that. The quality of life has to be considered. And I decided that I wasn't satisfied with the quality. I think there's something else going on besides the AFib, and sure enough, it was.
Her situation was fairly typical of what you'd expect to see in someone who has severe aortic stenosis. So that just means that the aortic valve doesn't open properly. This is a condition that affects thousands of people, and typically it's a condition that affects folks as they get older, and people start to develop worsening symptoms, things like shortness of breath, dizzy spells, fluid accumulation, and ultimately, untreated, it leads to premature death.
When you're told you have two choices, they can cut you open and they can insert this new valve, or they can run a wire up through the groin and put it all in, and you could go home in a couple of days. Now, which would you take?
The official name is transcatheter aortic valve replacement. Nobody wants to say that more than once, and so it gets abbreviated to TAVR. The risks are less, the recovery is much faster, and so it truly is a great leap forward in technology and treatment of patients who otherwise would have had to undergo a fairly significant open heart procedure. Once a person starts to develop symptoms from severe aortic stenosis without treatment, the odds of being alive in 2 to 3 years is about 0. Once they're treated, they go on to live a normal life expectancy after the valve's been replaced.
They just called me on the phone and said, guess what? You were the 1,000th patient. And I just laughed. I didn't know what to think.
It is an incredible team process. There are typically an anesthesiologist, a nurse anesthetist, there's a scrub technician, there's a couple of x-ray technicians, multiple cardiologists, there's a heart surgeon, and on and on and on. And so it takes quite an effort to pull this off and to provide good care for the patients. It's been very rewarding to see where this began and where we're at now. And the technology, again, is remarkable and has allowed us to treat a lot of patients that otherwise might not have been able to be treated.
It's just easier to move around than it was before. So that's good. You're better to face it and find out all you can about it. Don't keep putting it off. They think, well, it's not really all that bad. I can put it off and wait a few weeks and we'll see how it turns out. And it doesn't get better, that's the problem.